All right, good afternoon. I've been working on trying to get this video done for you guys all day today. Um, I'm going to go ahead and go over number 2 from the packet from today's homework, I guess you would call it. And it reads, Donna is training for a marathon. She ran 10 and 3/4 miles on Monday and 6 and 1/3 miles on Tuesday. How many more miles did she run on Monday than on Tuesday? All right. And the first thing that they ask you to do is estimate. All right. So when working with fractions and you want to estimate, you always want to look at your fractions. That's going to let you know if you need to round up or round down. And that's all estimating is rounding on the front end and then doing the operation with your numbers after you round. So when you look at 3/4, you ask yourself, am I closer to having the whole thing or am I below that? Am I less than halfway there? All right. So if there was 4 items there and you had 3 out of those 4 items, you actually almost have the whole thing. So therefore, 10 and 3/4 will round to 11. All right. And then you have 6 and 1/3. When you look at 1/3, do you have almost the whole thing? If there's 3 there and all you have is 1 out of 3, do you have almost one whole? Or are you closer to having none of it? So if you have 1 out of 3, you're actually closer to having none than you are to having the whole thing. So 6 and 1/3 will round to 6, and then we would subtract. 11 minus 6 gives us 5. All right. So that's our estimate. Now for the solution. Okay. We're going to rewrite the problem over here again. 10 and 3/4 minus 6 and 1/3. And the reason why we are subtracting, I realize I didn't go over that before we estimated, before we did our estimate. The reason we are subtracting is because they're asking us how many more miles. Anytime they ask you how many more, they're asking you to find the difference. And of course, whenever you're finding the difference, you are subtracting. Okay. So when working with mixed numbers, because that's what we have, a whole number and a fraction, that's a mixed number. The first thing we want to do is convert our mixed number into an improper fraction. The way that's done is you take your denominator of 4, multiply by your whole number of 10. 4 times 10 gives us 40. And then you add your numerator, gives you 43. So we have 43, and our denominator stays the same, 43/4. All right? Minus 6 and 1/3. So we have to do the same thing with 6 and 1/3. Your denominator 3 times your whole number of 6 gives you 18, plus your numerator of 1 gives you 19. Denominator stays the same. Now the problem is we have 2 different denominators. Anytime you're adding and subtracting with fractions, you have to have common denominators. Okay, so the way we've been going over it in class is just use your multiplication factor. But as you know, or as I discovered, all students don't know their facts. So we've gone over a few different strategies. One of the first strategies that we went over was skip counting. So you take both of your denominators and you skip count by them. So I'm going to skip count by 4. We have 4, 8, 12, 16, and I'll stop at 16. All right. We're going to do the same thing with 3. We're going to skip count by 3, and then we'll stop once we have a multiple that's the same as one of the multiples that we got when we skip counted by 4. So we have 3, 6, 9, and 12. So our common denominator is 12. Okay. So what are our next steps? We know our denominators will be 12. So I'm going to look at the 4. How many times did we skip count by 4 before we reach 12? Well, we have 1, 2, 3. That means we multiply by 3. Whatever you multiply your denominator by, you multiply your numerator by the same thing. So we're going to do 3 times 3, which gives us 9. And then we're going to do 4 times 3, which gives us 12. So we have 129 twelfths minus, well, we have to do the same thing here with our 3. How many times did we skip count by 3 before we reach 12? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So therefore we multiply by 4 here. And we're going to do the same thing with our denominator. Our numerator. 9 times 4 gives us 36. Regroup your 3. 1 times 4 gives you 4. Plus 3 more gives you 7. So we have 129 twelfths minus 76 twelfths. Now we're ready to solve our problem. Our denominator of 12 will stay the same. And now we have to subtract 129 minus 76. 9 minus 6 is 3. You can't take 7 from 12, so you will regroup. and then this 12 will become a 12. So we already had 12, so we actually could have just did 12 minus 7 and got 5. So our answer is 53/12. All right. Now, on MCAT, on our state exam, sometimes they want you to choose more than one correct answer. So, in a situation where you have a multiple choice question, here is one of your correct answers. The other correct answer will come in the form of a mixed number, all right? Which means we have to convert this improper fraction that we have here back into a mixed number. And the way that's done is by division, okay? One of the things that I always ask the students is when you look at your denominator of 12 and your numerator of 53, the bottom number of 12, can it hold up the number 53? Is it strong enough? So, of course, 53 is bigger than 12, so no, it can't hold on to it. I mean, it can't hold it up. So what happens is we will have our division bracket, and the 53, since it can't be held up by 12, will fall over into our division bracket, all right? So I'm going to do the same thing here. We have 53, and I'm going to put my 12 out here as my divisor. So we have a dividend of 53. Our numerator is our dividend, and our divisor of 12. Our denominator is our divisor. So now let's go through our steps. Can 12 fit into 5? Absolutely not. Okay? But can it fit into 53? Of course, because it's smaller than 53. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did here. We're going to skip count by 12 until we reach 53 or a number that's close to 53. But we cannot go over the number 53. So let's go ahead and skip count by 12. We have 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60. We see 60 is too much, so we have to take a step down to 48. Now, same process. How many times did we skip count by 12 before we reach 48? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the 4 goes there. Of course, when you write a number in your quotient, you multiply it by your divisor. 4 times 12 is, well, we have the answer here, 48. Okay? So now we're ready to subtract. Can you take 8 from 3? No, you can't. So we're going to cross that off. This 5 becomes a 4. We're going to regroup, and this 3 will become 13. 13 minus 8 is 5. Okay? So now we need to represent our same answer of 53/12 as a mixed number. Okay? So the 4 is your whole number. Okay? Your remainder of 5 becomes your numerator, and your divisor of 12 is now your denominator. So 4 and 5/12 is equivalent to 53/12. All right.